Higher self. Our higher selves are constantly rooting us on and continuing to be our support system throughout our journeys here on planet Earth. And the higher self is our future selves. They are a part, fundamentally, what we are now. The only difference is that you are under the impression that you live in a body and that you are in time, that you are stuck in time. And when you access the imagination, you access the faculties of consciousness and presence and your ability to change your state of being and your frequency on demand, then you begin to access that frequency of the higher self. So the higher self is watching us play the game. You know, they're the parents that are at the game watching the children play, you know, softball or baseball or whatever it is. And they're rooting you on, you know, when it's your turn to bat and you strike out, or whether you you know, get a home run. It's like they're there to constantly support you, and it's a constant witnessing. They're always going to be there. It's a self to self connection, and for you to harness into that frequency and to tap into it, it's really necessary to know the limitations that you are placing upon yourself through identification of the body, identification of the finite self, because yes, we are here as humans and as your personality for a very short period in time. And what is more important and is going to be a bigger part of your experience as consciousness, as awareness, as the infinite intelligence that is within all of us, a bigger part of that is going to be your non-dimensional self, your non-human self. And the higher self and your guides are all versions of you, what you are now, that are parallel to you, and they're all in these timelines, these probabilities, these very vivid imaginations. They exist there. If something were not to exist, then it wouldn't be able to be thought of. If it's outside the realms of your imagination, then it is not within your probability for you to experience that, whether that's in the physical, like body, because you can experience timelines and realities that are not physical. You can go back in the past and visit those times where you were traumatized or you were ecstatic and blissful and joyful. And you can also do that to the future. And the future is much more malleable because it is not yet here, it is not yet present, and there's a lot more power to be future oriented. However, you can't, it's not all your responsibility to move mountains. And I know we have this idea that like ascension and spirituality and like law of attraction is going to bring us great wealth and great things, you know, and it can and it will. However, you can't, your happiness and your vibration in your own state of being cannot be completely reliant on that manifestation of those results, those circumstances, results. So it's really important that we really harness and vibrate on that level of the higher self. being the cheerleaders, the people, the being the higher self that is watching the game, the more you can do that, the more that you can separate yourself from the limitations of the game. The game is a playing field for you to experience, and it's just as valid as the spectator um, perspective, and it's just as valid as a whole different playing field and a whole nother game and arena that exists on the other side of the park, other side of the country, other side of the state, other side of the continent, other side of the universe. All are games that are specific for us to experience and learn about the nature of consciousness in our own unique way. And the more that you separate yourself from the playing field, from the limitations of your finite self, from your identity, it's going to take you out of the game and into a whole nother playing field where you have so much more possibility at your fingertips, and you have so much more freedom. There's less laws. The higher you go in density, the less laws you have. So it's really important that you tap into the higher self and tap into what we can imagine, what we can possibly imagine, and what is it that is cheering us on? What is it that the guides that are giving us the support and energy and the feelings? Effectively, the only feelings that we experience are from the higher self. They are from they're the communication device for a non-linear self to communicate to the linear self, which is significantly obstructed. So, in order for you to not be so much concerned with, you don't have the manifestations and the circumstances that you want and you envisioned and you desire, and your goals aren't complete, not so much identifying with that vibration as much as you are identifying with complete joy and bliss that is unconditional and that is completely sincere, honest, and truthful. Because if you are not truthful with yourself and what it is that is lowering your vibration, one, two, lowering your capacity to choose your state of being, and three, your those things that are preventing you from seeing and being aware of that reality and that possibility that is infinite within you. So those things that are keeping you from not going inward, basically your thoughts, and your thoughts are connected intimately with your emotions. So take your pick. Feelings are a combination of two. So if you are addicted to a substance, then it's much more of a chemical dependency and it's much more emotional. If it's depression and if it's if it's having to do with negative thoughts, then it's much more to do with your beliefs, your belief system, and your unconscious mind, and how it's cycling negative thoughts over and again. So being considerate of your higher self, and how are they giving you support, and how are you feeling right now without any circumstantial proof, evidence that they exist, that that you are fine. Because if you just trust, if you just let go of all conditions and attachments to what it needs to be, what reality has to be in order for you to feel good and to feel joyous, then it will allow you to bring into your awareness those simple and eternal and universal truths and vibrations that transcend all time and space, regardless of what you have and what you are physically. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys later.